Sol Vita Omnes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We may be on break for school, but the Latin grind never stops. Also, we're getting to a very exciting part in Caesar that I like, so I'm gonna speed my way there. That's still a couple of videos away, but we'll continue to work our way through. Last time we had gotten rid of I guess you could say, Titurius and Kata's legion. It's been basically destroyed. There have been a few survivors that have escaped and made it to Labienus's camp in 37. They were able to escape, but it's a handful of people, probably maybe a few dozen from the original legion and a half I think that we had there. So there was about 8,000 men or so, 6,000 to 8,000 men, and they're just wiped out. So, Ambiorix wastes no time. He's going to go, spurred on by this victory, he's going to go on and try to convince other people to join the cause, which will make it all the easier to take out the rest of the camps. And so he is going to pick on Cicero's camp next. So, at this point, he has persuaded the Nervii to kind of join the cause, which should be close to Cicero. So, we pick up in section 39 of Book 5. Itaque confestim demisis nuntis ad Ceutrones, Grudios, Lauacos, Plumoxios, Gaidumnos, qui omne sub eorum imperio sunt, quam maximus manus possunt cogunt, est de improviso ad Ciceronis hiberna ad volant, nondum ad eam fama de tituri morta per lata. So, immediately at once, with speed, with messengers sent out, scrambled in some sense, right? And kind of set out to all these different people, the Catrones, the Grudii, the Lawaci, the Plomoxii, the Gaidumni, who all were under his power, with messengers sent there. They gather together as many groups of people. Manus here referring not to a physical hand, but to the to bands of men. So as many bands of men they're able to gather, they gather. And they fly to the camp of Cicero from an unseenness, right? It's kind of like with speed, basically, kind of suddenly, literally from an unforeseen point, I guess. They fly to his camp. The camp, I think Hiberna is going... How do I want to do this? Then we get this long ablative absolute here. With rumor about the death of Titurius not yet carried to him. So Cicero does not yet know about what happened to Titurius and Cotta. Hold on. I will get out. Cat upset to be trapped in the room with me as I teach. All right. So, let's go take on Cicero's camp. Huic quoque accidit, quod fuit necesse, one of Caesar's more popular phrases, ut non nulli milites, qui lignationis munitionis qua causa insiluas disgaesissent, repentino equitum adventu inciperentur. Alright. It also happened to this one. I think you could have that referring to the camp is technically plural. I think it's going to refer to Cicero. It happened to this leader what was necessary to happen, that several soldiers who had headed out into the woods, causa lignationis munitionis qua, with the cause or for the sake of wood gathering of gathering lignus, so of wood gathering, and munitions gathering, so wood for all purposes. Several soldiers left to go do that, and those several soldiers who had left to do that, they are intercepted by the sudden arrival of cavalry. And we've seen this happen a couple times, right? So this phrase, perhaps unnecessary, but we've seen this before, right? Soldiers are out gathering grain, they're gathering wood, they're gathering some sort of supplies, and then suddenly they get overtaken by an enemy force. But Caesar here not able to ride to the rescue, so they're going to have to find some way around it. Let's see how they manage. His circumventis magna manu eburones nervi aduatuci atque orum omnium socii clientes legionem oppugnari incipiunt. So, this definitely an ablative absolute with these men surrounded. Magna manu, ablative here, you could have this as an ablative of means with circumventis, surrounded by a great band. You could also have this an ablative of means going, I think, with incipiunt oppugnare. They begin to attack with a great band. I tend to want to put it where it's more close to the ablative absolute, so I tend to want to put that together, though normally I would have put it in between his and circumventis, personally. So anyway, with them surrounded by this great band, the eburones, the nervii, the aduatuci, and of all of these men, the associates and the clients of all of them began to attack the legion. So, a whole lot of Gauls attacking a few Romans out to gather wood. Our men quickly... Oh, sorry. I need to do the Latin. Nostri celeriter ad arma concurrunt, volum descendunt. That was a short sentence. Our men quickly ran to their arms, ran to their weapons. They climbed the wall, or mounted the rampart. Notice the asyndeton here, the lack of connectors to kind of speed up the process. They run, they mount. We're not even delaying for the word et. We just do these actions very quickly, very swiftly, emphasizing the speed. Aegre is dies sustentator, quod omnem spemostes in celeritate ponebat, atqua hanc adepti victoriam in perpetuum sephora victorias confidebant. This day, the day, is sustained weakly, poorly. So the Romans are putting up a fight, but it's not great. All right, because the enemy was putting all of their hope in speed, in celeritate, and having obtained this victory, this is a kind of a future idea. Kind of like if they obtained this victory, they believed that. So the adepti here is going, it's a perfect participle, so it's going to happen before another verb. In this case, it's not happening before ponebat. It's not even happening before confidebant. It's happening before fore. Having obtained this victory, they believed that they would be victors. They would be victors in perpetuity, forever. So this is, the victory hasn't been attained, but having obtained the victory, they would be the victors. So, there you go. All right, 40. I'll do one more section. That first section went quite smoothly. Mittuntur ad Caesarem confestem ab Cicrone literae magnis propositis primis si pertulisset. Obsessis omnibus vis misi intercipiuntur. So, things are sent to Caesar immediately by Cicero, or perhaps even from Cicero. We get the subject finally here. Literae. I think... So, litera, a singular, the word in the singular, litera, means a letter, as in a letter of the alphabet, as in that is a litera. In the plural, it means a letter, a singular letter, a message, an epistle, if you will. It could perhaps refer to the plural here. I think the idea is going to be plural based upon the rest of the sentence. So I want to translate as letters are sent to Caesar immediately from Cicero, ablative absolute, with great rewards promised or proposed, set forward, if they should deliver them. So if the messengers should deliver these letters, they'll get a great reward. Then you get this ablative absolute and the result of these letters being sent out. With all of the roads besieged, with all the roads perhaps blockaded, those people having been sent, that is the messengers having been sent, are intercepted. So this is why I want to take it as multiple letters. If it were just one person taking one letter, you would have Mises. But since Misi is plural, I can't imagine you're having like 4 people deliver one letter. So I assume that this makes more sense to translate as the plural. Also, I mean, the fact that Caesar puts mittuntur first might emphasize that, because you definitely see that that's a plural verb. So even though a literae, it's like glasses or pants in English, where even if you're just are wearing one set of glasses or one set of pants, you're still using the plural. But you're definitely kind of clued in to wanting to use a plural here, so perhaps why that's first, as opposed to literae, which you're like, oh, well, literae, yeah, in the plural, that just stands for one piece of paper. So, all right. Noctu, so letters are sent, they're intercepted. Shame. Noctu, ex materia quam munitiones casa comportaverant, turres ad modum centum et viginti excitantur incredibili celeritate, quad esse operi videmantur perficiuntur. At night, from the material, referring primarily to the wood, from the material which they had gathered for the sake of munitions, from that material, towers up to 120 ad modum, a counting number here in this case, up to 120. So towers numbering to 120 are erected, are built, are raised up. Excito is the verb you use when you want to wake up somebody, right? You wake up somebody, you excito them. So we're not waking up these towers, we're getting these towers up. They are built, you can just translate this built, with incredible speed. Which, yeah, 120 towers in one night, that's quick. Those towers, which seemed to lack work, and this, so this is indirect statement, right? They more or less, they seemed to lack, kind of indirect statement. They seem to lack work. So towers which are not completed yet, they're half built. So it sounds like brand new turrets are built up to 120, and those which seemed to basically need repairs or need work, they were finished. So that's a lot of towers made in that time. So, I mean, they're not huge towers, right? They're not like 10 stories tall or anything like that. You figure maybe they're 3 or 4 stories tall. They're more of a scaffold rather than like fully armored towers, I imagine. More kind of scaffolding on the inside of the walls. Basically something to give you a vantage point over the walls, give you somewhere to stand as you're shooting bows and arrows at, or throwing spears at the enemy. Also, if you've got 5,000 men in this camp, you got 50 people working very efficiently, per tower. Not too hard. 50 people to build a 3-story kind of scaffolding a night. You could do it if you've got the materials, I think. And again, Romans, like every night they're building a new camp. Like they know what they're doing. So it definitely sounds impressive. And I mean, Caesar even admits it, right, with incredible speed. But they're able to build quickly, and they've got a little extra motivation. Hostes postero die multa maioribus coactis copiis castra oppugnant, fossum complent. The enemy, on the following day, with much greater forces gathered. So apparently they've added to their forces in the last 12 hours or so. They attack the camp. They fill the ditch. So again, look at the lack of connecting vowels. There's no et here, right? They attack the camp. They fill the ditch. There's no et in between. We get this asyndeton again, kind of emphasizing the speed at which these actions are done. They arrive at the camp and immediately start filling in the ditch. So in front of the walls, right? The walls are 9 feet tall, say, for this camp. But then in front of these walls, you're gonna have like another ditch that's like 4 or 5 feet deep or something. That might also be filled with like spikes. So if you want to be able to effectively attack those walls, you're not going to be willing to fall into the pit with spikes. So they fill the ditch. Eadem ratione qua pridie ab nostris resistitur. So, with the same reason, with the same kind of reckoning, with the same calculations almost, by which they had on the previous day, it is resisted, I assume like the attack on the camp. It's, again, weirdly passive. It is resisted by our men in the same manner, perhaps, for Ratione. In the same manner, in the same method or counting or something like that. So quickly running to arms, mounting the walls, throwing spears and arrows. All right. Hoc idem reliquis denceps fit diebus. This same thing then happens on the remaining days. Reliquis diebus, ablative of time when. So it's just the same thing's happening every day. The enemy comes, they attack the camp. Our men, or the Romans, defend themselves and push them away. And then on the next day, it starts all over. Definitely not going to be good for the Romans, right? They can't easily get out to get supplies, food, munitions, and whatnot. Are they going out every night to unfill the ditch to, at least give the enemy something to do? Like, definitely not good. And we can see that the Romans are doing a lot of work throughout the whole day, right? Nulla pars nocturni temporis ad laborum intermittitur. Non aegris non vulneratis facultas quietas datur. Nulla pars. No part of... I love this very weird way of saying it. No part of the nocturnal time. Okay. So no part of the night, right? So no part of the nocturnal time is interrupted for work, or is passed by for work. Is skipped. Maybe skipped would be a good way to translate intermittitur here, right? There's no intermission. They're constantly working. No part of the night is overpassed or passed over to labor. An opportunity, the faculty, right? The opportunity of rest is given not to the sick, not to the wounded. So you're sick with, or whatever you might be for aegris, right? However you might be incapacitated, be it from sickness or, greater injury. Doesn't matter. You're finding something to do. You're at least holding a lantern for people, I imagine. Same for the wounded people. It's like, you're not dead, you're working. because if you don't work, you might be dead the next day. All right, look at all these really short sentences by Caesar. Very quick to read. Quecumque ad proximi die appugnationem opus sunt noctu comparantur. Multa praeustae sudes, magnus moralium pilorum numerus instituitur, tures contabulantur, pinae loric haequa ex cratibus atexuntur. Oh, good. All of these words that I don't know what they mean. Even with the translation, I don't know what they mean. So, whatever things opus sunt are useful, or are needed, perhaps. Whatever things are needed, kind of like for the attack on the next day, for whatever things are needed on the closest, for the attack on the closest day, those things, whatever they are gathered at night. So it's nighttime, the enemy goes away, Romans go out, gather wood, and whatever else, food, whatever they can. Do I want my verb? Is it just do I want it to be praeustae sunt? I think many, I believe today's are spikes. In this case, I'm gonna pull out my dictionary. I know, like these are defensive terms for the thing. So sudes are beams, piles, stakes. Many stakes are praeustae. They are burnt at the ends. What this does is it hardens the wood, I believe. So if you make a spike with a pointy bit, you burn it, and it makes the wood harder and therefore sharper, or at least it's not going to lose its form as easily. So many spikes are pre-burned, or yeah, I'm going to take that as the verb here. They are pre-burned. Praeustae sunt. A great number of wall spears are created, are built. Wall spears. These would be javelins or spears that you would throw from the wall. And again, like I said, I know what these things are, but I don't really know what they are. So how's it? Is it bigger than a normal spear because you don't have to carry it out into battle? I don't know. So many spikes are kind of tempered, if you will. A great number of wall javelins are acquired, instituitur. Towers are contabulated. Towers are stacked up, right? And so again, I'm kind of imagining scaffolding here, where you have you build up a floor, right? You go up 5-10 feet. You build that. Then from that, you build up your next scaffold, and then you build your next scaffold, et cetera, et cetera. Pinae loric haequa. Parapets and ramparts. Yeah, pina is translated as battlement or parapet. Loricae are parapets or breastworks or defensive wall or screen. So other defensive types of things are woven from reeds. So they're making all sorts of different defensive structures. Stakes, again, for putting in the ground, to make it a little bit more dangerous to approach the wall. Javelins to throw from the wall. Towers to throw down from upon. And then these shields, or kind of walls that you can hide behind on the tower to then throw from and duck behind, that sort of thing. So all of these things are gathered. Cicero himself. We get a cum clause. I guess I should do the Latin. Ipse Cicero, cum tenuissima valitudine esset, ne nocturum quidem sibi tempus ad quietem relinquebat, ut ultro militum concursu ac vocibus sibi pacere cogeretur. Cicero himself, and then we get this cum clause. And whenever you get a cum clause, again, it's never wrong to translate cum as when, but I do think it's important to look ahead. to see, is it just a simple when cum clause, a cum, I believe, cum circumstantial? Is it better as a cum causal? Like, does this cum clause create the next event? Does it happen at the same time in the next event? Or is it happen despite that? Cum adversative, I think. So is it when, since, or although? Those are your three ways to translate cum. When, since, or although. I think here it's although. Cicero, although he was with very thin health, literally, right, I'm translating it very literally, with very thin health. Ablative of description, ablative of characteristic, so he's being described with this ablative. Very thin or very weak, very frail health. So Cicero is sick at this point. Although he was not of the best health, ne here is not the opposite of ut. Ne here is going with quidem, and this emphasizes the word in between ne and quidem. Ne quidem translated as a unit as not even. And again, it's really stressing this word as opposed to any other, as opposed to perhaps the opposite of this word. So not even the nocturnal time for himself was he leaving for rest. So I translate that very weirdly. I'll go back. So Cicero, even though he was of poor health, was not even kind of holding back or not even allowing the night time as a time for rest for himself. So he's sick, sure, he'll work during the day, but even at night, right? Ne quidem. So he's not even skipping the nighttime. He's constantly working. Which is what you want to see in a general, right? In a leader. You want to see them putting themselves in the same kind of situation that their subordinates are. And this obviously like has a positive effect on soldiers, right? So he was doing all this, and then you get this result clause with the ut. I'm taking it as a result clause. With the result that he was forced to spare himself. Parker takes a dative. He was forced to spare himself by the running up, ablatives of means here, by the running up and the voices of his soldiers. So he's constantly working, and his soldiers are like literally like running up to him and like shuffling him back to bed or something in the night, right? So it's like, no, you need to rest. Because, yeah, you want the general to work, to feel like he's in the thick of it with his men. But also, if you die, then who's going to take over? And you're the leader for a reason, right? So they do realize that he needs to take good care of himself. Ultro, moreover or furthermore, with the result that moreover or kind of in the end, perhaps, he is forced to spare himself. It can also mean something like voluntarily. And you could perhaps have that going with like concurso. He is forced to spare himself by like kind of like the voluntary running up of his soldiers and the voices, the shouts, the calls of his soldiers. So, moreover, or on the other hand, or voluntarily. Ultra has a couple of different translations. So, pick the one you think works best for you. Okay. That gets us through 40, and we'll go ahead and stop the video there, or at least end our reading for now. We've got a couple sections left until my favorite part, so that'll be maybe if I can keep my schedule, maybe Wednesday. We'll see. All right. If you have any questions, as always, comment down below. Shoot me an email. Hope you're enjoying your break, if you are in fact on break right now, and I hope that you have a good one. I will see you all next time. Wall later.